this is just for you, an important time to talk about this subject. Our kids are going back to school, and with that, it might be a good time to talk to your kids about peer pressure, alcohol, and drugs. And this morning we want to chat with Jeanne McAlister, founder and CEO of the McAlister Institute. Good morning, Miss Jeanne.
Good morning.
Thank you for having
you. Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
It's such an important topic, and I'm glad you're here because I could use the advice as a parent. My son is 5, turning 6 very soon. But, you know, I want to be ready. I want to be empowered to know how to begin a conversation and when the right time is.
Well, anywhere preschool to at about 7, somewhere in this age group, start talking to them calmly and in terms that they understand, because what people don't recognize is that when they go to school, they're going to learn or hear about it from other people, and you want them to hear about it from you. Mm-hmm. You also want them to feel comfortable in speaking to you about what they hear at school and what they learn at school. And I think there's a lot of ways to segue into talking about drugs. It's on the television all the time. Athletes are in trouble because of steroids, and that's just a nice way to start speaking with your children, and do it calmly where they understand, and don't push them or get excited about it or say no. I think the other thing that you need to do is teach them how to have fun without putting anything in their mouth. You know, a lot of parents, have parties without alcohol, for instance, How novel, right?
Right. No,
yeah.
That's interesting.
But it is important. That's one of the things when we bring teenagers into our programs, that's one of the things that we teach them, is how to have fun, enjoy themselves without the use of drugs and alcohol.
And I want to talk a little bit about what the McAlister Institute does. You guys have been around a long time, and your program basically helps everybody who is dealing with alcohol and drug abuse, and children. Obviously, that's why we have you here. We're kind of focusing on children. What do you see and what do you hear from them?
Well, we've lost the war on drugs. Please, everybody know that. There is no more war. They've taken over. It's very common. It's in the schools. What I don't think people recognize is that children learn about drugs before they're 8 years old. And sometimes they start using at 10 and 11. And not all children that experiment with drugs are going to become addicts.
Sure.
All right? But it has been, some studies have come out, whereas if they start using young, a lot of times they do become addicts. So it's really important to catch it, nip it in the bud.
Sure. Not only that, Miss Jeanne, but I got to tell you, it's a scary thought when I start hearing and reading about how prescription medications, pills, huge. It's running rampant in our schools. And
adolescents especially are so experimental. They think that they're so invincible. Like, we've taken our adolescents to the beach, for instance, and they found gypsum weed, which they ingested, which is very, very serious, and you can get high on it. See, but the ordinary person doesn't know about gypsum weeds. So.
No, it's the younger,
right?
It's the young kids.
They do things like orange peel and toothpaste and let it dry, and they can get high off of that. They smoke marijuana and apples. So there's just so much out there, and I think parents need to educate themselves so that they can talk intelligently. Don't panic. Don't think that your child is going to become an addict because they're experimenting. The other thing is, don't be their friend about it. All right?
That's a good one.
You're going to tough with them, and I talked with some of my staff even last night, and she said, I told my son had the excuse of not using drugs by saying, my mother is going to drug test me. I cannot use drugs. So give your children some backup to being able to say no. You know? Let them blame you. Let them be angry with you.
They may be thanking you. They may be thanking you in the long run.
Oh, they will eventually. And then we offer some free drug testing for if parents think that their children are using, you know, their behaviors change, their grades have dropped, they've gotten more secretive, they kind of speak in code, they lean towards clothes that depict drug use and alcohol use. Notice those things, and if you think your child is using drugs, then bring them in and drug test them.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you so much for at least helping us to begin this conversation, enlightening us and empowering us as parents to have the conversation. What we'll do, Ms. Jeanne, is we'll put all of this information on our website, a recap, making it easy for our viewers to click on. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Stick around, much more ahead right